Hey everyone, it's Tuesday, it's 12 o'clock. It's time for Tuesday Talks with Craig, and I've been away for a couple weeks, so glad to be back and just sharing a couple thoughts with you today. Last time that I did a Tuesday Talk, I was in this room and it was in the midst of being painted, and just thought I'd come back in here. A fresh coat of paint is on this room and a bit of a transformation has taken place, and I talked about the idea that Jesus wants to transform our lives. And so this room is just a reminder that transformations do happen. Jesus does want to transform us. He is at work, and so just a reminder of that. So I was away on vacation the last couple of weeks, mostly staycation and a little bit of vacation, and came back, and Friday was my first day back into the office, and I found myself just surrounded with all kinds of uncertainty. And usually at a time like this, I would come back from vacation and have a pretty good idea of what needs to happen to be planning for the fall and all the different ministries and programs that would be starting up. And what I'm finding is that we're still in the midst of this COVID reality. There's lots of uncertainty and a certain degree of angst. School's going to be starting up soon, and I know there's mixed emotions about that, with some excitement and maybe a little bit of anxiety just about what it's going to look like to go back to school. And so I know many families and individuals are concerned, and you know, in the midst of that, for my world, just the uncertainty around church life and programs and ministries and things like that, and just a lot of swirling around. Mixed in with that, I've interacted with a few people who I know have some heavy burdens, health concerns, employment concerns, relationship concerns, and just things that are swirling in people's lives. And I was just reminded of a story from Scripture that I wanted to remind you of today. And it's the story of Jesus in the boat with his disciples when a storm came upon them. And so what happened, it's recorded in Mark chapter 4, verses 35 and onwards, if you want to read it later. But the gist of the story is this: Jesus and his disciples are going to go to the other side of a lake. And so he gets into a boat with his disciples. It says there's actually a few boats together with them. And Jesus curls up on a cushion in the stern of the boat, and he falls asleep. He takes a nap. And while they're out on their way across the lake, a storm begins to surround them. And the storm sort of circles around them, and the winds pick up and the waves pick up, and it begins to get really dynamic. And these disciples, it says that they are afraid. And they go to Jesus, they wake him up, and you know, they basically say to him, you know, don't you care if we drown? And what happens next is Jesus gets up, he rebukes the wind and the waves. He says, "Quiet, be still." And the storm subsides. And then Jesus turns to his disciples and he says, "Why are you so afraid? He says, do you still have no faith?" Just an interesting question he poses to his disciples. Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith? And as I kind of reflect on that story a little bit today, I'm just reminded that many of us might feel like we're in the midst of a storm. There's lots of uncertainty around us. There's maybe some anxiety around us. There's different burdens that we're facing, different circumstances we're facing. And so if you feel like you're in the midst of a storm, you might be like me, kind of wondering, where is Jesus in the midst of this? I know I've sort of wondered that. Jesus, where are you? What are you up to in the midst of this? And this story reminds us that Jesus is with us. Jesus was with his disciples on the boat. He was there. And in the midst of the storm, he was there. And it's like the disciples kind of forgot who was with them. And they go to Jesus and wake him up, and he gets up and calms the storm and turns to them and says, you know, why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith? Don't you know who I am? Jesus was present with the disciples, and he had the power to intervene in the circumstances that they were facing. And I just want to encourage you today that if you are feeling at all like you're in the midst of a storm, Jesus is with you. And even if it feels like he's sleeping in the boat, he is there, he is with you, and he has all power to intervene in your life. He has all power to be at work in the circumstances that you're facing. And I know that story is speaking to me today about a number of things that I'm sort of feeling like the storm is maybe circling around me. Jesus is here with me, and Jesus has the power to intervene. And so maybe for me as a disciple, as a follower of Jesus, I just need to turn to him. I need to trust him. I need to ask him to show up. I need him to remind me that he is with me, and I can take comfort in that. This story today has spoken confidence into my soul to know that Jesus is not surprised by anything that's going on around us. Jesus is present, and he is at work. So hopefully that'll be an encouragement to you today. I'm praying for you, no matter what circumstances you're facing, that you will know the presence of Jesus and the power of Jesus in your life today. Blessings on you, and I'll be back again next week with another Tuesday Talk with Craig. Thanks for joining me.